The Mediterranean is 1,000 things together. Not one landscape, but 1,000 landscapes. Not one sea, but a succession of seas. Not one civilization, but a series of interwoven, overlapping civilizations. The Mediterranean is an ancient crossroad. For thousands of years, everything has met into its waters, shifting, but also enriching its history. The Mediterranean is our master link. It brings us together, supports our livelihoods, and crafts our unique quality of life. But what are we doing to preserve it? Together with other complementary measures, marine protected areas are recognized an effective management and conservation tool. They are able to cope with the unprecedented alteration to marine ecosystems.
Marine protected areas are recognized as an efficient tool for the sustainable management of the marine environment. These are marine zones where management measures are applied in order to achieve ecological objectives. In addition to their role in preserving the species and their habitats, they play a significant role in enhancing fishing stocks, in developing ecotourism. They have actually the potential to create jobs. In the coming years, the challenge for the Mediterranean marine protected areas will be how to ensure the preservation of the marine environment and the biodiversity while contributing to the social and economic development of the local populations.
It takes strong political will to create and manage an efficient MPA network. In Turkey, MPAs exist since the 1970s, but the strong commitment of the government to effectively manage them is recent. The government has embarked on a large-scale project, together with GEF and UNDP. This is the first step towards a long-term solution for the protection of marine biodiversity in Turkish coastal waters. In Catalonia, there are around 50,000 people linked to fishing. They work as traditional fishermen, and the presence of marine protected areas help these people keep their jobs. In fact, one of the objectives of marine protected areas is the protection and the conservation of the resource. They also help spread the fishing resource to nearby zones. Fishermen can benefit from this. Marine protected areas also enable co-management between different local actors. Another important point is that MPAs contribute to preserving traditional fishing and ensure that future generations continue to live from this activity.
La pesca artesanal perduri en el temps i que les noves generacions puguin viure d'aquesta activitat.
Brunei National Park is a mix of natural and cultural heritage, and we want to preserve it in that way. We have here remainings from Neolithic time until today. We have the most preserved sea in the Adriatic Sea. People can come on Brioni and visit everything, but in a sustainable way, like they can hire a bike, they can hire electric cars, they can go with our touristic trains, with our guides. The ferries that come on the island is owned by the park. We have even hotels that is also owned by the park. Everything is managed by us, and this allowed us to self-finance ourselves with more than 90%.
After 50 years of protection, the National Park of Port-Cros has a very rich underwater life. The park is very attractive to divers. We reckon that about 60,000 dives take place here every year. If you count about 40 euros per dive, that represents about 2.4 million euros per year. So it's an important economic activity. Today, what allows us to integrate the diving activity into the protected area is the fact that dive clubs and their divers are asked to adopt the appropriate 100% respectful behavior. It is a collective endeavor. I would say that the marine space and the diving activity are co-managed by the dive clubs and the national park together. The success of the park is directly linked to these systematic partnerships throughout all park activities.
Marine protected areas are particularly suitable for environmental education activities, not only with schools but with the public at large, because they host a very rich biodiversity. Since the creation of the reserve in 1989, the Miramare MPA has focused on environmental education as a tool to instill attitudes and behaviors in line with conservation goals. Mediterranean marine protected areas should use environmental education and interpretation to involve the full array of stakeholders living on and exploiting the coastline, so as to disseminate examples of sustainable management of the sea.
To fulfill their mission, marine protected areas in the Mediterranean are not working in isolation from one another. Rather, they work together to build an ecological and human network to ensure that the exceptional heritage of the Mediterranean is preserved.
The ecological network of marine protected areas in the Mediterranean has grown and improved in the last decade. Significant progress has been made both in terms of coverage and in terms of management. But we are still far from the international objective of protecting 10% of the Mediterranean by 2020 through a network of marine protected areas that is complete, effectively managed and ecologically representative. In that, there are still not enough marine protected areas in the Mediterranean. Their geographical distribution is still heavily weighted towards the north of the basin. Some habitats and species are not well represented, and the efficacy of protection measures needs to be improved. Reaching the Aichi targets and the Barcelona Convention commitments is still possible, but only if there is a renewed, stronger, consistent and strategic engagement from all the stakeholders involved. Means riparian states, national and Mediterranean institutions, marine protected areas managers, scientists, NGOs, the private sector and others. We need to join forces.
To join forces, human networking is fundamental. Praise to the recent growth of the MedPAN network, MPA managers, institutions, scientists, NGOs and others are working closer together to share their experience and learn from one another. Over 80 MPAs and 24 regional, national and local partners from all around the Mediterranean Sea make up the network. Together, they nourish the dynamic exchanges that ultimately stand as the crucial underlying mechanism to ensure marine protected areas in the Mediterranean expand and are efficient.
Marine protected areas are vital for the future of our Mediterranean Sea, but they should not be designed as areas that exclude men. They actually offer ways to improve man's relationship with the sea for the benefit of everyone. By allowing effective management of the diversity of marine resources, marine protected areas foster economic sustainability and social well-being. But public support is needed, and needed at all levels, to develop an effective network of MPAs in the Mediterranean. MPAs are everyone's business. Let's commit to 2020.
نلتزم ل 2020.
Impegniamoci per il 2020.
Andavant po 2020.
Obvežimo se za 2020.
لنتحدى 2020.
Obvežimo se za 2020.